So, welcome to another episode. So, today we're going to talk about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. And this is an area or a topic that I think is very, very important. It's something that holds us back, that limits us, and it's something that can be easily changed. And what you'll find is that this is sometimes the bedrock of change. And once you change this one part, you'll find that all other areas of your life improve as well. So for those that aren't aware, a limiting belief are those little thoughts that you have, those little assumptions that we tell ourselves what we can't do, what we're incapable of doing, what we're not good enough for, or why something isn't possible. If you limit your beliefs, you limit what goals you can achieve. It's infinitely more likely that you will not achieve them if you don't believe that you can. I mean, limiting beliefs by nature limit us, don't they? The limitations can come in the form of ability, capability, or even self-identity. Now, most limiting beliefs come in various common phrases or in the form of various common phrases, and they follow a very similar pattern. It could be I do or I don't. So, as an example, I don't deserve success, or I don't believe I can achieve success. It might be I can't win this fight, I can't pass this exam. It might be I must or I must not. I must be too stupid to be successful. Or I am or I am not. It might be I am not very athletic. I am just big boned. You can start to see that these phrases aren't helpful. You are essentially self-sabotaging yourself by talking about yourself in this way. Because when you use limiting beliefs through spoken word or even internal dialogue, you're creating an environment that will make it difficult for you to go against this view. If you say you aren't good at something, you generally avoid doing it, and the chances of actually improving are pretty low. Look, we're not saying that you shouldn't identify weakness, but you can do so in a more empowering and more effective way. If you say I can't play football, what you're essentially going to ensure is that you never play football. You know, if you say I can't swim, I can't run, you tend to not do those things. I mean, I'll use myself as an example. In judo, it's a limiting belief I have. I say, oh, I'm not good on the ground. And because I am not good on the ground, I don't really like the ground, I tend to not do much work on the ground, which is stupid. It's not the ideal way. So I'm working on that currently to try and reframe that to say, well, actually, I can be as good on the ground as anyone else. I just don't put the time and the effort into it that they do. Because when you tell your brain you can't do something, your brain listens. We often have a self or a limited self-image of what we can and cannot do. As I said, we might think we can't sing and we'll never try, or not go to singing lessons. This is what the crux of I can't statements are. It means that you've already lost before you've started. We believe that our abilities are fixed and we can't improve, can't learn. Your values can change though, and we can get rid of limiting beliefs. You'll hear this statement: all women are, all men are. What's that based on? Is that based on your experience? What you've been told? Is that actually true? Yes, there are generalizations. Most people are X, but it's not something that, if you have that belief in your mind before entering into something, you won't judge it correctly. Oh, all bosses are dickheads. I mean, I've had some good bosses and I've had some not so good bosses. But if you go in with that assumption, that's not helpful. If you assume these statements, you're going to ensure that you find people who will fit this criteria. It's the whole confirmation bias, isn't it, really? If you say you're not clever, you're not going to try and improve your cleverness in some ways. Yes, if you're not clever, you shouldn't keep telling yourself you're not clever. You're saying, well, actually, I've got an area where I need to improve here. I need to learn more about X. Now, in the same way, both of those things are identifying that you're not clever. But you're not limiting your belief. You're not limiting your abilities from what you've said. You've actually looked at a growth as opposed to fixed statement there. You've said, I can improve. I need to find literature or whatever in this area to improve. You've not said, I'm thick, I will never understand this. You've got to understand that nothing is permanent. Everyone can change. This is a really important example as well. If you're a manager and you expect your subordinate to not be incompetent, and you tell them they're incompetent, they are more likely to remain incompetent. If you call someone selfish, they're more likely to display these behaviours to you. People grow into what you think or say about them, and the same goes for yourself as well. Speak highly of yourself and treat yourself as a king. So these limiting beliefs can create fears in you too, can't they? If you say all dogs bite, that's your limiting belief, you're probably going to develop a phobia of dogs. And on the flip side, if you believe all dogs are friendly, you're probably going to have an affinity for dogs. But that same belief could catch you off guard, couldn't it, if you did meet an aggressive dog? So whether your limiting belief is overly positive or overly negative can affect your behaviour, can't it? And the belief and experience that you have. Your initial beliefs can change. You need to educate yourself and understand that you're responsible for how you think and how you look at yourself. We adopt beliefs from other people as well a lot of the time. If someone tells you this film is rubbish, you might not even go and watch it because they've told you it's bad. If they've told you it's bad, you've assumed it's bad, and you can never see for yourself that it's actually a pretty good film. If you've got a child that just played football and they've not played very well, would you ask them how did they play? No, because they're going to answer really badly, and it's going to affect their self-image through their limiting beliefs and words. Instead, would you not ask them what went well? What did you learn? You can see that the performance was bad, but how we've addressed that performance is completely different. How we view ourselves and how we talk about ourselves has a huge impact in how we're going to be in life. If we see ourselves as normal, we will remain normal. If we see ourselves as extraordinary, then we may become extraordinary. Most people don't pursue success, do they? Because they feel that the investment of time, money, commitment just isn't worth it. They feel that after all that, I still might not make it. If you think like that, you're never going to start. You're never going to get on that journey. It's stopped you from having the opportunity to succeed, and it's actually prevented achievement. An example of this might be that, you're looking for a girlfriend, and you've already told yourself before you speak to her that she won't go for short guys. That's going to guarantee failure, because you're not even going to open your mind to the idea that she might think you're a great guy. You could tell yourself, actually, I'm going to show her how great short guys are. I'm charismatic, I'm funny, I'm good at my job, I'm caring, I've got good status, whatever. And believe that you're worthy of things. You're worthy of that girl, that job, that return on investment. Because most people don't feel worthy of these things. They see others as, they pedestalize other people. They believe that they're not worthy of money, fame, relationships, or even having children. If they feel like this, they will never get it. And is this something you're doing? Set the bar high, because at the end of the day, even if you don't reach the goal of the ambition, you'll still be a lot further along than what you are currently. When you think like this, it opens your mind up. And I'm going to give you some actual examples here, because when you have limiting beliefs, and we've talked about some of those, I don't have the time or resources to pursue my goals, I always fail, why bother trying? All of these are self-sabotaging, and we've identified our own limiting beliefs, so you can have a think about some of the limiting beliefs that you have and how we can rewrite them and reframe them. Instead of, I can't apply for that position because I'm not experienced enough, why not say, I've got more than enough experience, and anything I don't know I can learn on the job, and that will help you to apply for the job. Is it a story you're telling yourself, or is it based on reality? Limiting beliefs have a huge impact on you, and you can break free from them. You can do so through self-talk and affirmations, visualization, setting goals, and surrounding yourself with positive influences. Understand that what you say internally will show on the outside. When you say you can't, you won't. When you say you can, you will. I mean, again, it's similar to imposter syndrome in some ways, limiting beliefs, but if I believed that, I'm not in a position to start a podcast, I would have never started it. But I thought, well, actually, I do know my shit. I'm going to start a podcast, and whatever happens, we're going to continue with this progress. I can do it. If other people can do it, and they're not as clever as me, then I can do it. And that's a much stronger way to think about yourself. And what you'll find is that the regret of not taking action is always worse than taking action and fucking up. And that's what's going to kill you later on. And the limiting beliefs are the start of that. You believe you can't do something, you don't do it, and then you wish you did it later on. So just start changing how you think about yourself. And at the start of the day, have a limitless belief. Not a limiting belief, a limitless belief. So let's move from limiting beliefs to limitless beliefs. Believe you can do anything. Believe you can wrestle a tiger. Whether you can or not is irrelevant. It still puts you in the best possible position at that point. If you go into a fight and you don't believe you can win, you've already lost. Even if the other guy's better, if you go in thinking, I'm better than this guy, you're going to fight optimally. And this is what limiting beliefs are all about. And it helps you to become powerful and you unlock your potential. There's a few examples actually here, and they're really good. A very obvious one is the dog on its lead, isn't it? Limiting beliefs. If it's on a short lead most of its life, and it can only move a few feet away, the dog learns its boundary, and it stops moving beyond that. It's limited to its garden, it's limited to walking next to you on the road, and it becomes a learned behaviour. Even if you take the leash off, the same boundaries still apply within the mind of the dog. And you can see that they're effective permanently. Another example is exactly the same, is the elephant and the rope. When an elephant is trained at the circus, when it's just a baby, they tie a rope to the elephant's legs and it can't obviously divert away from where it's going. As it grows to a full-scale elephant, when it could easily pull that rope, it's still in the mind frame of it can't be moved beyond that rope, and it's not strong enough to break free. And this is how limiting beliefs actually work. The elephant could be free, the dog could walk away, but they don't. Another few examples, the fleas in the jar. If you put fleas in the jar and close the lid, the fleas will try and jump and escape. They'll keep hitting the lid over and over again, won't they, obviously? But after a while, they'll adjust their jump so it's just high enough to avoid hitting the lid. They've learnt their limit. And after a while, you can take the lid off and they will not try and escape. This is a limiting belief. And the final example, probably the most complex, is the best really in some respects, is the monkey and the ladder. It's kind of similar to the fleas in the jar. Group of monkeys are in a room with a ladder in the middle. Top of the ladder is a bunch of bananas. And every time a monkey tries to climb the ladder, a scientist will spray all of the monkeys with cold water. After a while, the monkeys learn that if anyone climbs the ladder, they will all get punished. So they stop trying to get the bananas at all. Now, what the scientists start doing here, and this just shows how limiting beliefs can be passed through families, through friends, through society, and can really hinder your progress, is the scientists started replacing the monkeys one by one with new monkeys who didn't know about the cold water, but they did know about the conformity to not try and get the bananas. Because as soon as a monkey tries to climb up, the other monkeys pull him down and stop him. Over time, once you've replaced all of the monkeys, you end up with a group of monkeys who have never experienced the punishment but still won't climb the ladder, because that's just how things have always been done. And I think this is a really great example of limiting beliefs. Look, I can explain it all I want, but that example tells you everything you need to know. What are you doing to yourself, and how are you speaking to yourself that's limiting your life, your potential, what you want to achieve in life? Now, obviously, you can sort of overlay this with other parts, you know, your major fears, etc. But you can rewrite your programming and break free of these limiting beliefs. Don't believe that you're not good enough. Believe that you are. Believe that you deserve happiness and success. Believe that you're the best man to ever exist. You are a king in your own right. And if you think like that, then you start to behave like that. And when you start to behave like that, your life will improve until you are in that position. And then there's no way that people can say anything otherwise than you are the best.